Just a quick show of hands. How many of you here have studied another language in your life? Yeah? Most of us have, right? I don't know about you, but when I study another language, like English or Spanish, I feel like it's opened a new door for me. It helped me enter into a different culture, different values, and different ways of thinking and different ways of life. It expands my perspective in life. So learning another language enriched our life. There's no question about the benefits of learning another language, right? That having said, we can live without it, right? Assuming that you know your native language. But for us, the disciple of Christ, there's one more language that we need to know. The language that determines our life and death. And we cannot live without this language. What language am I talking about? The language of faith. The language that we can describe our experience of God and share the good news of Jesus Christ with other people. Do you remember the gospel from last Sunday, right? Jesus challenged his disciples, go into the whole world and proclaim the good news to every creature. So here's the questions. How can you and I go into the whole world and proclaim the good news to every creature? How can we speak the language of faith that people can understand and get to know the good news of Jesus Christ, the one who shows us the love and mercy of God, the one who wants us to live and live abundantly? In order to answer these questions, we need to go to the first reading today. In the Acts of the Apostles, St. Luke told us that there was many devout Jews from every nation under heaven gathering in Jerusalem. So they went to Jerusalem to celebrate the Pentecost. So what happened to this particular Pentecost? They heard a noise like a strong wind. Then what? Then they heard the disciples speaking in their native languages. They were confused and astounded. Are not all these people who are speaking Galileans? Then how does each of us can hear them speaking in our own native tongue language? We are Parthians, Medes, Elamites, inhabitants of Mesopotamia, Judea, Cappadocia, Pontus, and Asia, yes, Asia too, Phrygia, Pamphylia, Egypt, the district of Libya, travelers from Rome, Cretans, and Arabs, and Californians. No, I didn't say Californian. So the point is, people from every nation under heaven can be able to understand in their own native language. Are not all these people who are speaking Galileans? Then how does each one of us hear them speaking our own mother's tongue language? So how do you explain that? How do you and I explain this phenomena? We can explain in two ways. One, the disciples suddenly be able to speak many languages. Second, disciples can only speak Aramaic because that's their language. But the people from different nations still understand them in their own native languages. Who do you think? I have no idea. But there's one more explanation, and that is the language of the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit. No matter which language the disciples speak, the Holy Spirit is the one who help the disciples speak the language of faith, and the listeners can understand it. How so? Let's go back to the analogy of learning another language. Is it easy to learn another language? Yes? No? I don't know about you, but I find myself very difficult. Is it easy to speak a foreign language? At least for me, it's not easy. Perhaps it's easy to say a few phrases like hola, adios, or muchas gracias, right? Cinco de Mayo, right? Feliz Navidad, right? Those few phrases, I think most of us can speak, right? But this to describe our deeper thoughts and feelings to another person so that they can fully understand our thoughts and feelings is not easy, right? But also, for those who listen to another languages, it's not easy either. The disciples, most of them are fishermen, can speak many different languages to other people, and they can understand. And the Jews from other countries can listen and understand the disciples speaking in their native language. How do we explain this phenomenon? The Holy Spirit. That's why St. Paul in the second reading today wrote, "No one can say Jesus is Lord except by the Holy Spirit." No one can say Jesus is Lord except by the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is the one who inspired disciples to speak the good news. What do they talk about? They talk about the mighty acts of God. They talk about the mighty acts of God, the good news of Jesus Christ. And the Holy Spirit is the one who inspires the people to listen and understand the good news. Let me share with you one story as a way to illustrate how the Holy Spirit works in my life. So after college, I felt very lost and confused about what I want to do with my career and my life in general. Not to scare the seniors. I talked with a few priests and nuns. They all have different advices for me. And most people say a magic word that I hate, pray. Because I did not know how to pray. When I pray, I felt like I talked to myself. And I felt stuck. So one day, my choir, yes, I used to be in a choir, from the church, has a social gathering at one of my friend's house. So I have a chance to talk with my friend's cousin. Let me name her Sophia. Somehow the conversation led to the topic of prayer. And Sophia went on to explain how she prayed. She told me she just think about God throughout the day and she just talked to God throughout the day. And that's all she said. And you know what? It stayed with me until today. I was so moved by her testimony that I decided to imitate her, to think of God and talk to God throughout the day. I talk to God when I drive to work. I talk to God when I take a walk. I talk to God when I study or before I go to bed. Talk to God before a meal, obviously. And slowly, I felt the presence of God. And felt that God is accompanying me throughout the day, through my activities, whether working or walking or studying or just having fun. God just be with me. And slowly, I discover my calling and my purpose in life. So I decided to explore and discern my vocation. And I joined the Jesuit. And the rest became history. So how do I explain this change within me? Except the work of the Holy Spirit the Holy Spirit somehow inspire Sophia be able to speak to me, even though she never gone to college, never had any theology training like the priest or nuns, be able to speak the language of faith to me, and how the Holy Spirit inspire me be able to be open and listen to the voice of God speaking through her. And I understood and changed. No one can say Jesus is the Lord except by the Holy Spirit. Perhaps someone might have a great gift in speaking or preaching, can give you and me brilliant ideas and beautiful thoughts. They, however, cannot move or change your heart or my heart. Only the Holy Spirit can change and move our hearts. May you and I sing the song, "Oh God, send out your Spirit, renew the face of the earth. Oh God, send out your Spirit, renew the face of the earth. Oh God, send out your Spirit, renew the face of the earth."